We used the classroom scale at the start of the year. It was given to us by our management in order for us to evaluate and setting up our classroom. Sat down and we sat and looked at everything, how we were going to set up our classroom, thinking about how things were going to be laid out for the children so they can become independent and self-sufficient in the classroom. So yeah, first of all, we used it at the start of the year. It was given to us by our management to think about how we were going to set up our classroom, think about the physical space and for the children, how everything was laid out and all the resources were laid out for them to be more self-sufficient in their learning, so they don't have to rely on us and they're able to go and see where everything was that they needed and be able to do that all by themselves. We also think about our structures and routines in our classroom, so we had our visual timetable in which the children were able to understand what's going on day by day without having to rely on an adult as well. And so they could also take more ownership for their learning as well, because they also are taking part in moving it along as well, the timetable, so they know what's happening next and what's happened before. So last year, yeah, I had to adapt my classroom, and using the classroom scale was really helpful because it give me ideas and strategies to be able to tailor my classroom to suit particular pupils who perhaps needed a little bit more support and to overcome those sort of barriers that perhaps would have been there with the physical space in my classroom beforehand. Yeah, so it really gave me some good suggestions to think about how we could best support these children as well. The first use that it was recommended me by when I was a probationary here actually. It was and they just gave me a few for one of the children, and it really, because you always have an idea roughly what you think the issue might be with the child or what the area they're struggling in, but that was really good in maybe helping you identify what the actual area it was they were struggling in, and also their strengths in other areas as well. And so by doing that, we were able to identify that perhaps it was their concentration or something that was an organisation that was the issue, and then then it has the strategies and supports part as well. So we went through and then we photocopied it and highlighted all the different strategies we could try out as well. And then came back to one of the children was the organisation, so we ended up putting visuals in place. And I thought a lot about my own voice in the classroom as well and how I give instructions as well. So one of the strategies was to help me be a lot more specific in my instructions, to cut out all the sort of additional words and just go with clear instructions that are tailored to that individual pupil. And then also using visuals as well was another strategy that was suggested, which visuals, so they could then, instead of me having to use my voice all the time, they could also find out where they need to be at certain times. Participation skill was really useful in helping me identify what perhaps areas a particular learner needed support in. Then we'll sit down with a colleague and look at different strategies and actually highlight different strategies in the circle document that had been suggested that could support that child. A lot of these you're already sort of using in class, but it really gives you a few extra ideas and reassures you of certain strategies that can be used in the class as well. So after highlighting the strategies and identifying some, I then went away and actually put some of these strategies and supports in place for the pupil. These strategies we put in place were sort of putting more visuals in place for that child, so visuals on my lanyard so they could then see perhaps where they need to be at certain times, and also having short, clear instructions for that pupil. So after putting these strategies in place and evaluating perhaps my own practice as well, I was able to see that this child became a lot more confident and a lot more engaged in class as well, able to take part in things without my prompting all the time as well, and that they just become a lot more self-sufficient, independent. And I have to remember this is a young child as well, so that this is, at this stage, to see this progress is really promising as well.